Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video will be alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. And before I get started, can I do a mic check, please, and get a one in the chat if you can hear me? Just waiting for a one in the chat if you guys can hear me. Okay, perfect. So before I get started today, I just want to talk about a few things briefly. And the first thing I want to talk about is now that Melody is no longer on the show, a lot of content creators in this sector is trying to pivot and talk about other topics. I have seen many content creators speak on the fact that they will no longer be talking about the show and the people who potentially might be remaining on the show, if the show is renewed, which, we all highly doubt that. But if it is, we won't be covering the show. So, obviously, a lot of us came together in this sector to support Melody Cherie, and this is where it all began. Um, De Silva was one of the first content creators to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. There were a couple others out there, but initially she was the very first one, and that's where I came from. I watched her from way back then when she used to advertise starting a YouTube channel with the stick figure people. I was way back then. So we all came together for that purpose. And now that she's no longer on the show and we have all decided not to support the show, we have to support content creators as they pivot and move on to other topics. I know it's easier said than done because, at one point we really did enjoy the show until it got so toxic. So, all I'm asking is please support the content creators as they pivot to other topics. I myself decided early on that I didn't want to review the show because I didn't want to deal with, all of the trolls that were associated with the show. But I did talk about the cast members on the show on my channel, but I never actually reviewed the show. But I supported all of my favorite content creators who did. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is is everybody creating a X, better known as Twitter account, so that we can move over there to support Melody Cherie. Over there, we don't have to worry about monetization, our channels being struck, because we know that now that Melody is gone, they're trying to go with these narratives, these fake narratives. So they are striking channels of the content creators who are showing the real deal and what they try to put out about Melody Cherie on this show. They are striking channels. And it really broke my heart to see De Silva on her channel yesterday. And, the fact that her channel is being targeted. And, she was almost in tears. And she said that it was because of all of the love and support that she's getting. And because people know that she deleted all of her, content on Love and Marriage Huntsville. So she's not monetized because they were trying to strike certain videos. So she received a lot of super chats. But it is very disheartening to work so hard for as long as she did and have to delete all of your content, because you're being targeted. That is very heartbreaking. So again, I just ask that we all try to support the content creators as they pivot to new topics. And also move over to Twitter where you can make all of the noise you want to make, without feeling threatened to have your channel taken down. So before I move on, oh, and I also want to remind you guys that tomorrow is Friday Funye Trivia. So make sure that you guys are all here for trivia on tomorrow. And about 12:15, Toot Latrice will also be here and she will be walking you guys through the process of starting a Twitter account so that, we can move in large groups over there. Like, there's strength in numbers and there's enough of us to make some noise over there on Twitter to bring more exposure to Melody Cherie and help build her brand. So before I do get started with what I came here to talk about today, I do want to go ahead and say some hellos. Thank you so much for being here, sis. Mama Bees, my moderator. Thank you so much for being here. Real Talk with Grace and Mercy. Hey, Creole girl. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, sis Alp MC. Thank you so much for being here. She says she's number 3. Hello, beautiful Linda Gamble. Thank you so much for being here. And I, hey, Sharon. Thank you so much for being here, sis. Hey, Kathy Hudson. Thank you so much for being here. And I think this might be my first time seeing you. And if so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Hey, Stephanie Crown One. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Oh, Alf MC, it's going to be 2 o'clock Eastern time, 2:15 Eastern time. So again, we do trivia every 2 weeks, every other Friday. So after I give people a chance to come in, I'm going to allow to talk to you guys about X, formerly known as Twitter. So that will be on tomorrow about 12:15. But you guys, I will be here at 2 o'clock on tomorrow. Okay. So I think that is all of the comments. So now I'm going to get into my recap of Wags to Riches Season 1, Episode 5. And it's called What's Up with My Prenup. So Sherelle and MJ was riding together in a Sprinter van, and they were actually headed to go to dinner to meet with um, the owners of a billion-dollar company to merge with them to have better opportunities. So Ashley actually showed up to the meeting as well. But while they were in the van, Sherelle talked about the fact that she used to be just like MJ when she was her age. But the difference is she didn't get caught. Okay. So obviously, she probably was dealing with, an athlete and had to deal with the same thing when it came to women being all, up in her man's DMs. And she also said that when MJ went to jail because, she's on her team, that a lot of people were reaching out to her to find out what happened, and she just let them know, you don't know the whole story and, just wait to find out what really happened. And she did say when she seen MJ's mugshot, she knew it was something petty because, her makeup wasn't messed up, her hair wasn't messed up. So she knew it had to be something petty. So when they got to the dinner to meet with the gentleman, where they will be developing new partners because they're looking into partnering with this major brokerage who has done over 6.8 billion, not million, but $1 billion in sales in their first year. So they are in negotiations right now to merge, and they will be the head of the luxury division. Wow, wow, wow. That is huge for a Black female owned business. So shout out to Sherelle for that. Y'all already know, I don't really care for Sherelle that much because she does appear to be a mean girl, but who can be mad at that? I mean, she's Black and she's a female. So shout out to her. So, like I said, Ashley joined them as well, and the meeting took place at a members only luxury establishment that was absolutely top notch, very intimate, and a very sexy vibe. And I must say that Miranda looked like she belongs in those spaces. So my only wish for her is that she will eventually see her value and move on from Kodak Black because he's just bringing her down, with all of this drama. And I think she's better than that. So in this new um, merge and partnership, Sherelle will focus on targeting the sports and entertainment luxury division, especially since most of them are engaged, married, or married to athletes who are currently an athlete, retired, or entertainers. So they have the connection. So that makes absolute perfect sense. That was a smart move on Sherelle's part. And I absolutely love this for all of the ladies because all of them will be able to benefit off of this partnership. Hey, TNTG Mom, thank you so much for being here. So they sealed the deal over an amazing dinner, and now it's time to plan the lunch party. So, next thing I want to talk about is Portia and Andre, who's her husband. They had a prenatal doctor's appointment and ultrasound. So Portia was very excited to talk to the doctor about having a home birth. She brought it up with, I think it was Keita, and Keita was telling her, like, girl, it's not what you think. Like, you do know that you can actually poop while you're in the water, and your husband is supposed to be standing behind you. And that is not the memory that you want your husband to have after the birth of your child. So she brought it up to the doctor, and the doctor told her that there is so many things that can go wrong, like a breech baby, like anything could potentially go wrong. So it's much safer to have your baby at the hospital. And of course, Portia thought that she could do this because her last baby was almost born in the parking lot. The baby came so fast that it was almost born in the parking lot. But as we all know, if you've ever had a baby, every childbirth is different and you never know what to expect. Like between me and my sister, her babies, they come really quick. Like she does spit them out. I mean, no long birth, whatever the case may be. Me, on the other hand, I'm in labor like forever. So I get it. Some people do have babies quick, but that could quickly change at any point. So you just never know how that's going to go down. So the doctor was able to convince her to have a hospital birth, and her husband absolutely loved that because he was against having a home birth the entire time, but he didn't want to be the one to tell her, so he wanted it to come from somebody else. So the doctor did, convince her to have a hospital birth, so that is settled. So the other thing that Portia is also worried about is not being included and not being invited. I don't know if some of you ladies can remember if you're a mom being pregnant, did you feel like you weren't invited? Like your friends didn't invite you to the events because nobody wants to invite the pregnant girl? Sometimes when you get pregnant, or even sometimes when you get married, you start to feel left out. You know, because your single friends sometimes they don't want to hang out, with the married chick or whatever the case may be. And then it's the same way sometimes when you're pregnant. Sometimes you feel left out. So she does have a little concern about that, as well as, she, just decided to move to Miami. I'm not sure if she made the move yet, but her and her husband was in the process of moving to Miami so that they can join the Miami group with Sherelle. And then all of a sudden, she comes up pregnant. So, although she's happy about being a mom, she loves being pregnant. She is worried about how all of this is going to play out with her new group of friends and then also the move. She says that she doesn't have a problem moving while pregnant. It's not a big deal. So she still wants to move forward with the move. Now, my fave Sade and her man Chosen, they have been together almost 9 years. Long, long time. Okay. And she's still not married. Now, my feelings on that is if she doesn't have a problem with it, then oh well. They are living their best lives. They're happy. She does want to have babies at some point. So I think she's ready, but hopefully she won't get pregnant before she gets the ring or she gets married. Um, and me thinking about the fact that she's been with this man for almost 9 years and she hasn't come up pregnant, even though the girls think she is. Hopefully she's protecting herself from being a baby mom. Nothing wrong with being a baby mom. Many of us have had babies out of wedlock, but you know what I'm saying? To get the most out of your relationship and you're married, it's best to be married before getting pregnant. So they did go on a Lambo themed boat ride, which looked like so much fun. So the thing is, they're enjoying each other with or without being married. They're enjoying each other. They seem to have a good relationship. So shout out to them. So the lunch party was top tier, and the whole entire squad was in attendance along with their husbands, and all of their celebrity friends were in attendance. So they officially announced the new brand, Allure Luxury, powered by LPT Realty, and they unveiled the new logo for the new business. And I must say that ice sculpture that they had was amazing. Now, I wasn't surprised to see Stony and Sade in attendance because what better way to get back at your enemy than to rub your success in their face? Okay. So I'm pretty sure that's what Mean Girl Sherelle was on, just rubbing her success, in their face. However, Sherelle did apologize, but time will tell if this apology is actually genuine because Sherelle did make it clear that everything is about money. Her friend circle, everything is about money. So, of course, she would invite anybody to this event that could potentially, you know, be a client or introduce her to some new clients. She's all about that. So Sherelle and Chad met with each of their attorneys for dinner to discuss prenups and expectations. And let's just say all of the red flags came out. So as you can see, the wedding that was planned for February 2nd, 2025 did not happen. And I honestly believe it's because they couldn't come up with an agreement on the prenup situation. And Sherelle's female attorney seemed to have bigger balls than Chad's male attorney. Like she was all over it. And she basically said if they can't come up with an agreement, Sherelle's not getting married. And she spoke, for Sherelle when it came to that. And I like that. Okay. And Sherelle even hit Chad with an infidelity clause. Like, Sherelle is not playing around when it comes to money, okay? Sherelle's attorney asked for a $3 million per year settlement. So every year on their anniversary, she wants him to pay her $3 million. Chad's attorney, offered $15,000 per month. Hey, Mahogany Meeks, thank you so much for being here. So that's what he was bringing to the table. And like I said, I don't think they were able to come to an agreement, hence why the wedding didn't take place on February 2nd, 2025. And at this point, like, you know, I'm not mad at it. Like, Sherelle is about her money. Ain't nothing wrong with that because, you know, when it comes to marriage, a lot of times women end up getting the short end of the stick. And I don't blame Sherelle for wanting to protect her finances because Chad even admitted that Sherelle makes more money than him. I didn't know this initially when I first started watching the show, but he said out of his own mouth that Sherelle makes more money than him. So it's more important for Sherelle to protect her finances even more so than Chad. And I think the reason why Chad does want to marry Sherelle, and not that he doesn't love her and all that stuff, but he sees a gold mine in Sherelle. She's very ambitious, she's very driven, and he also knows that Sherelle is going to push him into greatness as well, because behind every successful man is a woman, okay? A very supportive woman. So I'm pretty sure that's what Chad sees in Sherelle. So I feel like it would benefit Chad more than Sherelle if they were to get married, okay? And according to Stony, Chad is still outside. Okay. So Chad is still out there messing around, cheating around, which is why she wanted to put, the infidelity clause in place because he's still outside. So I think that they probably just made the decision to continue to date without getting married. Nothing wrong with that. Sherelle's already been married, she's already experienced that. And for some women, we don't have to do it again. Once you've done it one time, you know, it's not, I mean, it's not at the forefront of your mind. And Chad has also been married before. So, I mean, they could be together for the rest of their lives without actually getting married. Hey, Aries Girl Podcast, thank you so much for being here. So, if they're able to come to an agreement, fine. But if I were Sherelle, personally, I wouldn't get married again because um, I don't believe Chad can be trusted, number one. And I wouldn't want him to feel entitled to what she started before she even met him because Sherelle had this brokerage. And just like Sherelle said, she was already that bitch before she met Chad. Now, Chad does have a very successful podcast. I think he teamed up with Shannon Sharp, but he does have a very successful podcast, and I believe it's called Nightcap. So he's doing good as well. And I'm pretty sure Sherelle inspired him to start that podcast. And she has been involved with the success of that podcast. So that's my only fear is that, Sherelle will end up getting the short end of the stick when it comes to this marriage. And even Chad pointed out um, that Sherelle said that before they have the wedding, that they needed to come up with, the prenup and just agree on the expectations. So Chad pointed out that she said wedding instead of marriage. And to him, that meant that it didn't have the same, it's how do I want to put this? Effect, as if she would have said marriage. It was almost like she was more thinking about the actual act of the wedding instead of the sanctity of the marriage. So I knew early on that Sherelle had reservations. Chad, not so much. But it did appear early on that Sherelle had reservations. And I don't think she wants to sign up to be the stay at home or the traditional type of wife, you know, where there's so many expectations when it comes to cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. Like, that's just not her life anymore. And Chad has 9 to 10 kids. So somebody has to be, you know, a stepmom to those kids. So that could potentially take up a lot of Sherelle's time. And a lot of times, the red flags don't come out until you seal the deal. Now, your husband has all of these expectations, you know. And even though Sherelle said that, she gets along with all of the baby moms, and for the most part, they contact her, instead of contacting Chad, but still, that's a lot. I mean, when you date a man that's an athlete or an entertainer, it all sounds good, because of the amount of money he makes. But later on, when you really sit down and think about the fact that you have to deal with all of these baby mamas and the baby mama drama, then it don't look so good. So yes, guys, that's going to be the end of my recap of Wags to Riches. And guys, put a one in the chat and let me know if you're watching the show or if you've already watched the show, because it is on Netflix. So that means that you can watch all of the episodes at one time, which I hate. But who's watching the show? I know Mama Bees is watching the show, and I know Soundcheck Annette is watching the show. Who else is watching the show? And I think moving forward, okay, Real Talk with Grace and Mercy is also watching the show. Stephanie Crown One is watching the show, and of course, Mama Bees. Okay, a little bit more than the last time, so that's good to know. But moving forward, I'm going to try to focus on um, topics and recaps of shows that are not on Netflix. And Aries Girl says, I finished it. I got too catty for a second. Okay. So you finally finished it. Yes, I'm actually loving the show. I'm loving the fact of watching all of these successful Black women on a reality TV show. That's what we want to see. So I'm loving that, and they still have a little bit of drama and cattiness. No problem, we don't mind seeing a little bit of that as long as we can see Black excellence. Now, we don't want to see no fighting. Jules went a little bit too far, but I did decide to give her some grace because she, was being antagonized by Sherelle, and she wasn't in a good place. So I did give her some grace, but that's really not what we want to see on the show. And Alf MC said, she's not watching, just here to support. Not a problem. Thank you so much for being here, Alf MC. And Sharon says, I don't have Netflix, but it sounds interesting. And also, guys, I want to also let you know, just in case you watched part one of Black Beauty, it is coming back. They've already put out a trailer for part two, and I think it's supposed to come back on March 6th, if I'm not mistaken. So look out for that. I know we talked about it here on my channel, and a lot of you guys really enjoyed it. So it is coming back. I was waiting to see when it was going to come back. So I'm glad that they have officially released the trailer. So it will return on March 6th. So, guys, that's going to do it for today's recap. If you have not done so already, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, drop down in the comments and leave a comment so that we can keep the conversation going. I love chatting it up with you guys down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great rest of your day. And bye for now. Hey, the truth. Thank you so much for being here.